When Mi Fang learned that Jing Province had fallen, he was thrown into panic. He paced restlessly, unable to devise a plan. At that moment, word came that Fu Shiren, the defender of Gong'an, had arrived. Mi Fang hurried to receive him and questioned him in private. Fu Shiren sighed. "It is not that I lack loyalty. The situation was desperate and our troops exhausted. Lu Meng's forces were overwhelming. I had no choice but to surrender to Eastern Wu. Rather than struggle in vain, you should submit early and preserve your life." Mi Fang hesitated. "My brother and I have long enjoyed the great favor of the king of Hanzhong. How can we betray him?" Fu Shiren replied quietly. "When Guan Yu marched out, he already bore resentment toward us. If he returns victorious, he will surely punish us. Think carefully. Will you cling to reputation or protect your life?" Before Mi Fang could decide, Guan Yu's envoy arrived demanding 100,000 shur of grain for the army, to be delivered immediately, with execution threatened for delay. Mi Fang was shocked. Jing Province was already lost. How could the grain be sent? Fu Shiren drew his sword and killed the envoy on the spot, arguing that the order was merely a pretext to execute them. With Lu Meng's army already at the gates, Mi Fang saw no escape and surrendered alongside Fu Shiren. Lu Meng rejoiced and presented them to Sun Quan, who rewarded them and pacified the people. In Shudu, Cao Cao received a secret letter from Eastern Wu proposing a joint attack on Guan Yu, requesting secrecy. Dong Zhao suggested firing the letter into Fanqing to reassure the besieged troops and simultaneously letting Guan Yu learn that Jing Province would be attacked. Fearing for his rear, Guan Yu would withdraw. Su Huang could then strike decisively. Cao Cao agreed, urged Su Huang to press the attack, and personally marched south to support Cao Ren. Su Huang learned that Guan Ping and Liao Hua had set up interconnected camps. He first sent subordinate generals to feign attack, then secretly led elite troops along the Mian River to strike Yanqing from the rear. Guan Ping defeated the decoy forces and pursued them, only to discover Yanqing aflame. Su Huang taunted him, announcing that Jing Province had already fallen. Alarm spread through the Shu camp. Despite Guan Ping's attempts to maintain order, morale wavered. Su Huang launched further ambushes, shattering the defenses. Guan Ping and Liao Hua barely escaped to report to Guan Yu. Guan Yu at first dismissed the alarming reports as nothing more than enemy rumor meant to shake his army's resolve. He struck the table and declared loudly, "This is nothing but falsehood spread by the enemy to disturb our ranks. Lu Meng is gravely ill, and that mere boy Lu Sun has taken his place. What is there to fear?" His confidence was outwardly firm, and he refused to allow panic to take root. Before the words had fully left his mouth, urgent reports arrived that Su Huang's forces were already advancing. Guan Ping advised caution and urged his father not to engage recklessly, but Guan Yu answered with pride. "Su Huang and I were once old acquaintances. I know his abilities well. If he dares block my path and refuses to withdraw, then I shall personally cut him down as a warning to the Wei generals." When the two armies met in formation, Su Huang first spoke warmly, recalling their past friendship and praising Guan Yu's renown that had shaken all under heaven. Yet in the next instant, he turned to his soldiers and shouted, "Whoever takes Yin Chang's head shall be rewarded with 1,000 pieces of gold." Guan Yu was stunned and demanded to know why such words were spoken. Su Huang replied solemnly, "Today concerns the affairs of the state. I dare not set aside public duty for private sentiment." With that, he swung his great axe and charged. Guan Yu raised the green dragon crescent blade and met him in fierce combat. Sparks flew as blade met axe. They battled for more than 80 bouts, neither yielding an inch. Yet though Guan Yu's skill remained formidable, the wound in his right arm, only recently healed, began to trouble him. His strength gradually waned, his strikes losing some of their former power. Guan Ping, fearing disaster, ordered the gong sounded to signal retreat. At that moment, Chaoren led his troops out from Fancheng to join Su Huang, forming a deadly pincer. The Shu forces were thrown into confusion. Realizing that the situation had turned against him, Guan Yu ordered a withdrawal toward the upper reaches of the Xiang River and hurriedly crossed to escape. During the retreat, a fast rider arrived with devastating confirmation. Jing Province had indeed fallen to Lu Meng, his family had been captured, Mi Fang and Fu Shiren had defected. The news struck Guan Yu like thunder. Rage and anguish surged through him so violently that his old wound split open, and he nearly collapsed. When he regained consciousness, he sighed deeply and lamented, "Alas! I regret not heeding Wang Fu's advice earlier." Only then did he fully understand Lu Meng's stratagem, crossing the river under the guise of illness, disguising his soldiers in plain white clothing as merchants, quietly seizing the garrisons before any signal fires could be lit. Guan Yu stamped his foot in bitter regret. "I have fallen into a traitor's scheme. With what face can I meet my elder brother?" he cried. Even so, he refused to surrender to despair. He immediately dispatched Ma Liang and Yi Ji with urgent letters to Chengdu, seeking reinforcements. Gathering what troops remained loyal, he resolved to attempt retaking Jing Province himself, leaving Guan Ping and Liao Hua to guard the rear and hold off pursuit. After occupying Jing Province, Lu Meng issued strict orders that no soldier was to harm the civilian population or plunder property. He understood that conquest was not secured by force alone, but by winning hearts. Therefore, he commanded that the families of officers and soldiers who had followed Guan Yu to war were to receive monthly rations as before. Those who were sick were provided physicians and medicine. Homes were not to be disturbed. Marketplaces were to continue operating. The people were to live in peace as if no change of regime had occurred. These measures quickly calmed the populace. Instead of resentment and resistance, the city saw stability. Rumors of Wu's cruelty proved unfounded. Civilians resumed daily life, and many began to speak favorably of Lu Meng's discipline and benevolence. When Guan Yu sent an envoy to inquire about conditions in Jing Province, Lu Meng personally came out to receive him, treating him with full courtesy befitting a diplomatic guest. After reading Guan Yu's letter, Lu Meng sighed and said, "In former days, I shared private friendship with General Guan. That was personal sentiment. But today I act under the command of my lord, and cannot act according to my own wishes. Please convey this faithfully." A banquet was held for the envoy, and he was shown clearly that the soldiers' families were unharmed, supplied with food and shelter. When the envoy returned and reported what he had seen, the effect on Guan Yu's army was profound. Many soldiers, reassured that their families were safe and even well treated, began to waver in their determination. Their anxiety about loved ones diminished. Thoughts of returning home quietly took root. Meanwhile, Wu generals, including Jiang Qin, Han Dang, Zhou Tai, Ding Feng, and Su Sheng, deployed in coordinated ambushes, tightening the encirclement step by step. On surrounding hills, civilians of Jing Province waved white flags and called out to their sons and brothers within Guan Yu's ranks, urging them to surrender and return home. The emotional appeal struck deep. One by one, soldiers slipped away under cover of darkness. Guan Yu recognized this as a deliberate strategy, to defeat him not only with weapons, but by unraveling his army's loyalty from within. He raged, declaring, "This is the villain's cunning scheme. If I cannot slay him in life, I shall pursue him even in death." Yet anger could not reverse the tide. Desertions multiplied. In the end, only a few hundred loyal men remained at his side as he withdrew to make his final stand at Maicheng. Maicheng was isolated. Supplies dwindled. Soldiers were wounded and exhausted. Zhao Lei advised seeking aid from Lu Feng and Meng Da at Shangyong. Liao Hua volunteered to break through the siege and request help. After a fierce fight, he reached Shangyong and pleaded desperately for reinforcements. Meng Da argued that Shangyong's forces were too weak and that Guan Yu had once opposed Lu Feng's succession, urging caution. Lu Feng hesitated and ultimately refused to send troops, citing instability in the region. Devastated, Liao Hua departed to seek help elsewhere. In Maicheng, Guan Yu waited in vain for relief. Zhuge Jin arrived to persuade him to surrender, promising safety and restoration of command. Guan Yu refused firmly. Jade may shatter, but its whiteness cannot be altered. Bamboo may burn, but its integrity cannot be destroyed. Zhuge Jin departed, admiring his resolve. Surrounded on all sides, Guan Yu resolved to break out at midnight. Wu forces were prepared. In desperate combat, Guan Yu's small band was gradually scattered. Near dawn at Lingzhu, he and Guanping were captured after his horse stumbled. Father and son exchanged silent glances as destiny closed in. Thus fell the defense of Maicheng. Guan Yu, steadfast in loyalty, could no longer reverse fate. Summary. This chapter carefully depicts Guan Yu's decline from glory to ruin. The defections of Mi Fang and Fu Shiren led to the loss of Jing Province. Su Huang pressed hard from the front, while Lu Meng dismantled morale through humane governance and psychological strategy. Lu Feng and Meng Da refused aid. Zhuge Jin's persuasion failed. Guan Yu upheld loyalty and righteousness to the end, refusing surrender even when isolated and outnumbered. Yet with supplies exhausted and morale broken, he retreated to Maicheng and was ultimately captured. The chapter is not merely about military defeat. It portrays the collapse of unity and trust, the consequences of political miscalculation, and the tragic inevitability of a hero's downfall. Guan Yu remains noble in spirit, but even the greatest warrior cannot overcome isolation, fractured alliances, and shifting tides of power. Knowledge points. 1. The novel describes Guan Yu and Su Huang fighting for over 80 bouts. Historical records confirm Su Huang relieved the siege of Fancheng and forced Guan Yu to retreat, but there is no reliable record of such an extended personal duel. 2. The novel attributes detailed psychological motives to Mi Fang and Fu Shiren, portraying fear of Guan Yu's strictness and possible retribution as reasons for their surrender. Historical sources only record their defection without extensive commentary on personal motives. 3. The scale of armies in the novel is exaggerated. It describes massive troop numbers and multi-pronged encirclement by Cao Cao and Eastern Wu. In reality, due to population decline in the late Han Dynasty, actual troop numbers were far smaller than depicted in the romance.